Oh, wow.
Hello, this is Dr. Kamani, licensed clinical psychologist. Welcome to Manifesting Healing Monday. We are continuing our conversations about supporting Black women healing from toxic work environments. Welcome to my channel, Lifting Us with Climb Consulting Wellness Services, where we focus on supporting individual and collective healing. So thank you for tuning in. Please share this video, subscribe to the channel, and share and like it. Okay, so I want to introduce my guest, Busi from South Africa. So I'm going to turn it over to you for you to introduce yourself, and we'll go right into the conversation.
Okay, cool. Hi, everybody. My name is Busisiwe Hlatswayo, Busi. So I always say Lucy with a B. I am the founder of Black Women in the Workplace, and I created Black Women in the Workplace to help solve the problem of the lack of representation of Black women in leadership positions in South Africa. And to help Black women be impactful when they are leaders in those companies. So I call myself a Black woman in leadership coach. Yeah, that's me.
That's you. That's you own it. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, Boosie, I just want to thank you so much for joining today and agreeing to be here. I reached out to you. I'd seen your video on YouTube and reached out to you, and then we just connected. So, thank you so much for being here. So we've been having conversations for a while now. I've been talking about Black women in toxic work environments. I've talked that, this happens across the world, right, as we see, and that this is a common experience that Black women have in the workplace in terms of experiencing negative things. And so we are here to really elevate the discussion and really raise awareness that this is happening to so many of us, because a lot of times when this happens to us, we feel like we're alone, there's something wrong with us, what did I do wrong? And then we go in this cycle, but it really harms us physically and mentally and sometimes spiritually as well. So thank you for being here. So we'll go right into the conversation. So, and I always say this too, that when I ask my guests tell me about one toxic work experience, many times they have many, unfortunately, right? So
Yeah.
just choose one or more than
Okay.
one that you want to share with us in terms of a toxic work experience that you had and how it impacted you.
Okay. Yeah, it's so difficult. Oh my word, I've been cracking my head. Which one? Which one is the most impactful? But I do think that when I'll choose this one where I was in a white environment, white working environment, and I was a
Mhm.
leader, um, um, I'll choose it because for me, it really crystallized what challenges Black women face. Because
Mhm.
I've been a coach for a long time, and I'll
Mhm.
start the business, go back to work because maybe the business is not working out, and then go back to coaching or coach um, as a side hustle.
Yes.
So, and when my career started, I thought I struggled in my career, and I thought I struggled because I was the first in the family, etc. Didn't have mentors and all that. And when I
Mhm.
kind of learned how to maneuver the workplace, which is mainly around how to assimilate, to the
Mm.
white culture, which is the culture that is in the workplace. I started
Mhm.
being very successful in my career, and I thought that the women who struggle in the workplace they struggle because they haven't learned all these strategies. But when I got into that workplace where it was predominantly white, I was the first
Mhm.
Black leader
Mm.
in that company. That's when it was so textbook, it was not even funny. That's when I really got to understand and got to just take the textbooks, what people write about and what you read about, and really actually experience it. One is how this whole thing of the better Black,
Mm. You're the
you know
token one. You're the chosen one. You're
yes,
different. You're different than the other ones. Yes.
you're different. You're the
Yeah.
different one, and
Yes.
so it shows up when you're introduced.
Mm.
So when you're introduced, is this is Busi? She's got an MBA. She's this and she's this and this, almost as if to justify
Yes.
why you're there, to
Yes.
answer the question that is supposedly in people's minds,
Right.
that why are you there?
Right. Right. It's kind of like selling your worth, right? Like she's
Yes.
worthy. She's worthy. Look what she
Yes,
has.
before you
Look at her
even
gifts.
ask,
Yes.
she's
Yes.
worthy. She's
Yes.
worthy. You know, so for me, that was the first thing that really just jumped to me. And then the second thing is the, it's nice white people. you know so it's nice white people, and so when these instances of microaggression happen, it is such a battle in yourself,
Yes.
because one, you kind of understand that most of it is not intentional. It comes from ignorance. It comes from conditioning. So you look at this person and this isn't this she believes she's a nice person, but actually you you really are stepping on me right now.
Yes, like the nice nasty, right? So you're
Yes,
nice, but you're nasty, but you
but you
deliver it in a nice way.
yes, and so a lot of things. One, the expectation that you should be, is it Patricia Collins who writes about the mammy in the workplace? The mammy archetype in the workplace, where you are expected to work harder. You're expected to take the brunt of the workload,
Yes.
and not complain.
Yes, be the workhorse.
Yes, the workhorse. So you might not be in someone's kitchen, but you're still playing that role, where you're the hardest working, where you're the, yeah. So
and you better not complain either, because you're lucky that you're there.
And also when you talk about not complaining, the toxic positivity, that no, when you start complaining, it's, oh no, we're so tired. We haven't had a staff party in a long time. Oh my goodness. I think we're just also stressed because we've been working so hard. So that whole pushing down,
Yes.
any voices, but nicely. Just say,
yes.
No,
a nice nasty, right? And it kind of keeps you, it's a way to keep you in your place, right? So it's like, we're being really nice to you. I think we're all stressed. It's kind of like, it's like they're pacifying you in some ways, right? But it's demeaning because you're not recognizing what I'm saying, and you're not saying that I'm struggling here.
And so it's difficult to be, especially because you already are the different one, and also around that is being praised for being calm.
Oh, okay.
So you're so
so you're not fitting the angry Black woman stereotype, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, you're so different. You're the model Black person.
Yes. And that also keeps you from speaking up, because
silencing.
Yes, it's very silencing. It's silencing because before you recognize it, you actually take it as a compliment. Oh, you are able to just walk through everything and just keep it together, and you realize, oh my goodness, actually, this is a way of silencing me.
Yes. And then if you step out of it, it's kind of like, well, why are you acting that way? Like, we're nice to you, and you're just not a team player. You're not a team player. You're never satisfied. You're hard to work with.
I mean, I was shocked. You should expect this. I mean, I work with this. I work with Black women who have been through toxic environments, and I should have expected it. But when I started raising my voice, it did not take long for them to want to discipline me. It just turned around so quickly.
Wow.
so quickly, and irrespective of what I've done and what they were praising me for, you know, and as Black women, because you know that you don't bring you don't come with any privilege, so you work hard. We generally just are hard workers, and you get there, you make changes, you make an impact, and you're praised for that. But immediate, like, all of those things are not going to save you when you start speaking up.
Yes, when you're challenging what you're
When you
experiencing,
start
what you're saying,
challenging,
and you're calling out the truth, right? And
when you
so,
start calling out the truth,
yes,
yeah.
and it reminds me of something. And Busi, something, your microphone has a little sound,
Oh,
little
okay,
interference
so
to it.
is it still? I think because I had the change
I
off.
think it's a little bit better.
Okay.
But my Spelman sister, Dr. Monica Cox, talks about when you come into the workplace, you're like the shiny, like
Yeah.
car. Like,
The
oh,
honeymoon
look at
phase,
her.
yes.
She has all these things. She's going to do this for us and do that, right? And then you start shining more, or you start like, hey, this is not okay. Hey, you start pointing out things in the system that are dysfunctional,
Yeah.
and then you got to go, right? It's like this push
Yeah.
back and push out.
Yeah.
And so you experience that. And what's so interesting about you is that you coach Black women, right? So before it was, okay, well, try this, you know, to kind of navigate the system, right? And then you get in the system, you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa. And then you experience it.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
it really made me have compassion, and it really made me rethink the whole process. The other thing that I wanted to speak about is how whiteness, and I mean, it's not everybody, but I always say that, and actually research says that, it shows that because most white people have been raised, you know, to internalize their superiority. So even if they're not weaponizing it, it just happens. So there is also this phenomena of even when you have subordinates, when you are Black and you have subordinates, they also monitor you. You know, they find ways to monitor you. So,
yikes.
Please raise this issue. Have you raised this issue? Has this been done? And you're like, why does it look like the tables are turned? You know?
Right.
So
It's a discomfort with the social hierarchy, right? So it's like in the workplace, you're at a higher position, the social hierarchy, you're supposed to be down there. So it's like this, like, wait a minute, I don't know how to adjust to this. And it comes out in these unconscious ways of questioning your worth.
Yeah. And I thought and I've seen I've seen it with other people that it actually does happen, where the hierarchy comes through, and you have to be mindful of it, because it obviously these things don't come at you straight, but you start seeing, who is, you know, who's the manager here?
Right. Right. It's kind of like, it's like this out of body experience. Like, what is happening here?
Exactly.
What is happening here?
Exactly. Because you're a kind person.
Yes.
You don't want to assume the worst of people. So before you take steps, you want to think, am I overthinking this? Is it me? You know, am I, you know? But then you realize, no, actually, no. No.
It's not me.
No, it's not me. It's not me. Yeah. And also I think the other frustrating thing is when the organization sees itself as diverse, or you know, beyond the racism, you know, beyond, we're just great people.
We stand for Black lives.
Yeah. That
we're anti-racist, all those things.
That's even more frustrating, because then you're kind of fighting an invisible enemy.
Yes.
And another thing that I've seen as well is that if the organization is toxic as a whole, it's just generally toxic. For example, there's not enough resources that are given for work that needs to be done. The leadership is non-responsive, etc. And all of you, both black and white, are experiencing that. That also has a silencing factor, because when you raise things that specifically happen to you because of your color, it's like, no, but you know, they're like that. Something like this also happened to me. But no, what you don't understand is that you have a different experience before because of your color. I would have the worst experience. And so when you push it down to, it's actually a toxic place, you know, you're overthinking it. That's also another way of silencing the black voices.
Absolutely. And also too, Busi, and your microphone is kind of catchy. Your microphone is still kind of catchy. Yeah. It's like a little staticky.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
How is it now?
I can't really tell until you're
okay.
Yeah.
Let me just maybe
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm maybe trying. Does that help?
I can't really tell. We'll just keep going on.
Okay.
But you know, you talk too in terms of, you know, there's so many different ways of being silenced. And I think also what we see, particularly with I would say nice, nasty people in the workplace, is that sometimes they may have a very different experience than you because of their privilege. And they don't recognize that. So when you bring things up, it's like, no, this person is great, right? Or this supervisor, no, this leadership is great. I remember in this situation really briefly, there was a woman who had privilege, and she's like, oh, this person who has tormented the whole division, right? This person is just like the best leader. You know, this person allows for you, if you have any ideas, this person fully supports it. And, you know, I've done anything I wanted to do. And I'm looking at her like, okay, you are speaking from a position of privilege. You don't understand what it's like for those of us who are silenced. So can you talk a little bit more in terms of the nice nasty, right? So you talked about the nice nasty is, oh, I know. Like how else does it look like? And what are some strategies maybe that Black women can utilize when they are experiencing, or how can they recognize this is nice nasty? This is not just somebody being nice.
I think I think it shows up a lot with white women. And I mean, there's a lot of research that has come through around white women, around the whole sisterhood of, you know, we all have oppressed, marginalized identities. So I am a white woman, have been oppressed by patriarchy, but not understanding that my situation as a Black woman is compounded by the intersectionality of my identity, the fact that I'm Black and female, and also that you as a white woman are part of a system that oppresses me as a Black person, and that you also have some conditioning, some internalized superiority that you lord over me, you know. So now when I raise issues and you start saying, yeah, you know, I also had such challenges with the men in this place. You know, they would do this and do this and do this. So it's like we are all in this together, but often, sometimes, you are part of the problem.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
you are part of the problem, and then there's the and then there's no space to raise issues, because first of all, when I raise issues, we are in the sisterhood, men are like this, just go through it. And also the whole, we are sisters, when it's someone else. But when you do stuff to me, then one, or when I raise issues, you raise your superiority. You know,
Right.
you start shutting me up.
Yes.
Based on now we're no longer sisters now.
Right.
You know, now the authority, the hierarchy is raised, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
So then it's
then
exerting their privilege, right? And their
yeah,
internalized sense of its superiority. And now it's like, I'm putting this upon you and you better stay in your place because
yes,
I'm telling you to do this.
yes, yes, yes. And
Yes.
and also then the tears. Then there's also the tears,
Oh, the tears.
the
Yes.
super
And making people
manip
uncomfortable, making them uncomfortable.
the
Yes.
super manipulative tears.
Yes.
It's very, oh gosh, very toxic, very
Absolutely.
weaponized, you know,
As I was
weaponized.
just gonna say that.
Really,
Yes. Yes.
really,
Because
really
then you become
weaponized.
the villain because you're
Yeah.
hurting people and you're a
Yes.
cruel person. So no matter what you've experienced, you're hurting this person. And so
Yeah.
you're the person that needs to be
Yes.
taken out. Yes.
And also they take care of me. You know, you're here to
Yes.
serve me. You're here to serve my emotions. You're here to serve
Yes.
me work wise. You're also here to serve me. You know, we become the
The mammy, like you
the
said.
man, yes,
Yes.
and also the support act. You know how
Yes.
in most movies there's the support act
The
black
best friend,
girl.
the black best friend.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Uh-huh. Never mind
You're
that you're
almost
hurting me. I should now seek out and support you,
yeah,
even though you got your foot on my neck
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and the knife is in
It,
my back.
it is
Right.
my business to fix the situation. It is
Yes.
my business to, you know, to fix the situation. And also, yeah, there's so many roles that we are put into. If you
Yeah.
speak up, then we make you the speaker up. You know, be the speaker upper.
You're the troublemaker. You're never
Yes, you're the
satisfied. Do you not
troublemaker.
see how hard we're working?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, and it's only later that you find yourself quoted. You know, the same issue that Busi raised. Huh, so it is an issue now. When I was raising it alone. There was
Right.
no support. Oh, all of a sudden, oh wow.
Right. And
So
usually what happens, Lucy, that we see is that we raise the issue, we are vilified, right?
yeah,
Particularly because we've hurt somebody's feelings or
yeah,
made people uncomfortable. Somebody else who does not look like us will raise the issue. And it's like, oh, that's so important.
yeah,
So it's like they steal, our
yeah,
ideas. And Dr. Carey Yazeed talks about this a lot, how the ideas, the work of Black women are often stolen and we're not given credit in any way
yeah,
for what we've
yeah.
contributed, right? So
Nah.
yeah. So, Busi, what strategies or tips can you give for Black women who are experiencing this nice nasty?
I think you know, and this is not victim blaming. I think I believe that two truths can be present at the same time.
Okay.
So you can you can be, for an example, you are in a relationship with someone who's in a position of power and is very abusive to you.
Hmm.
They are wrong. They are totally wrong, and it's very wrong that they're doing that to you.
Hmm.
However, you also need to um, identify what are the wounds in you that situation allows for you to see them and start healing them. And some
Hmm.
of it is just
Interesting.
yeah, and
Yeah.
some of it is just honoring yourself to leave. You know, that's sometimes that's the wound. The
Yeah.
wound is um suppressing yourself, being the long suffering one, and
Um,
just staying in places that are not good for you.
that are killing
Sometimes
you,
that's
literally
the
killing you.
yes,
Yeah.
sometimes that's the wound. Sometimes the wound is I am not worthy, you know, and and then you attract these people who keep um pushing you, or you don't attract these people, you find yourself in situations that allow the spotlight to be there on you. For an example, I was a middle child in a very violent family, and not necessarily violent. It's just a difficult environment, emotionally charged environment.
Mhm.
And so I was the piece. So I looked at this situation. My sister was always fighting with my mom. My sister was um, the rebellious one,
Got it.
and then my younger sister was the crier, was the
Uh,
why are you doing this to me,
uh-huh.
why, and
Yeah.
I as a child just assessed that situation and said, if I do everything right,
Mm.
if I am the nice one and I'm the calm one, I can save myself from the situation.
Ah,
And it's so fascinating how I've seen that myself in those roles in the workplace
yeah.
until I healed that,
Wow.
There was one
That's
situation,
profound.
yeah,
That's profound, right? Is that you recognize that your childhood, right, and the wounds from childhood carried over into how you function in the workplace
yeah,
to a point that when those unhealed wounds were operating and you weren't aware of it, then you were constantly like trying to be the peacemaker and trying to do
yeah,
everything right and trying
yeah,
to right, but all that pressure on you and not
yeah,
recognizing that there's a way out. I don't need to be in this environment,
yeah,
but you were still kind of trying to play out
yes,
or you were playing out that role in the workplace.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it happens a lot when I share this with my clients. They see themselves. So what I'm trying to say is that we are not at fault.
Mhm.
These people need to be accountable for their actions. The
Yes.
accountability is fully on them.
Yeah.
However, when you are there, it sometimes provides an opportunity to see your unuseful patterns.
Hmm.
I'm giving, so one of the examples was that I was in this one workplace where our boss was a white woman and we were three black women. And these two black women, I had a great relationship with my boss because then, as I said, when I tried to understand how to um, do well in the workplace, I learned assimilation very well. And also because of my childhood wounds, I learned um, to cater to whoever is in authority so I keep myself safe.
Wow.
So I
So
learned to,
that was actually a trauma response,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So like in childhood, it was like a
yeah,
survival mechanism in the
continues.
job too.
Yeah.
Oh,
So what happened then? And almost the same as my childhood situation. Those two ladies
hmm,
were were getting the whole toxicity from this boss, and they actually ended up in a mental hospital. And
wow.
I was the one left. Fine.
Wow.
We have a great relationship.
Oh my
Um, and
God.
I hear they tell me things about what she does when maybe I'm not there in the meeting, throwing things at them, and things that she never did to me. Like she treated me
Wow.
with respect. She was amazing. But they are getting all this. I mean, there was a time when she refused to approve their travel. I don't know what happened around their travel. They had to sleep together in a room, in a bed, on a
What?
work trip. On a work trip. I was like, that would never happen to me.
Wow.
You know? So she treated them very badly. But I didn't get that not because I was great, but because I had learned to assimilate, to to pacify, to
Ah,
be what the situation required of me,
yes, yes, yes.
until and that's what sometimes we do, that then we also then silence other sisters when they are
Ah,
going through those things, because it's not happening to me. She's a nice
right,
person.
right.
You
Right.
know?
So it's you're playing out the same dynamics of the toxic system. So when the system is like, oh no, we're doing all these things, oh, we're all stressed, right?
Yeah.
So you're also saying that perpetuating that own side, that silencing
Yeah.
with each other, which
Yeah,
is
with
so
each other.
harmful because a lot of times in the workplace, when we feel so on guard, right? Because people are watching us,
Yeah.
right? Or we're being attacked, we're already feeling uncomfortable. And so to not be able to share that and be validated by another person who looks like
Yeah.
us is very painful,
Yeah.
very painful. And so
Yeah.
these two women ended up having serious mental impact,
Yeah.
right?
They had
Oh
to
my gosh.
they were booked for like 30 days in
Wow.
America. And yeah, and so I left that workplace and and when I went into this fully white workplace, I saw myself repeating the patterns, but then I was doing very much a lot of inner work, inner childhood wound work, and when I now spoke up,
Mm-hmm.
I then became, then the rejection started to happen. What happened to
Ah,
you?
okay.
You used
So,
to be
okay,
so
wait, wait.
nice.
Right.
Yeah,
So
what
you
happened to you?
used to be the good black girl,
Yeah,
right?
what
I
happened to
treated you
you?
so nice, right? I
Yeah,
treated the other ones like that, but I treated you nice. How dare you? How
yeah,
dare you? You're so
yeah,
ungrateful,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yes.
what
And
happened to you? Yeah, you used to be so nice. You used to be,
yes,
what happened?
what
Yeah,
happened to you? There's something wrong with
yeah,
you. And you know what's interesting also is that whole way of like divide and conquer, right? So
yeah,
I'm gonna treat Busi nice, but I'm
yeah,
gonna treat the other women like crap,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
how can you really say we are anti-racist, we honor black people, we believe Black Lives Matter, and then
yeah,
you treat some black people okay for tokenism, and then you
yeah,
treat the other black people like
yeah,
crap. So
yeah.
that's just the hypocrisy. And so finally you were like, no, I see the hypocrisy. I'm going to stand up. But I think that was after you got connected to the
Yeah.
childhood wound, right?
Yes. And also when I did that, that's when actually exactly what you're saying, the divide and conquer them. One, they frustrate black women or women of color so much that
Hmm.
obviously we then respond differently.
Yes,
Some will just get depressed and get sick and all that,
yes, yes,
and then some will just complain and speak up. And when you have been bottling, or you've been speaking up and speaking up and speaking up until you feel like you're going crazy, and
yes,
be labeled then the crazy one,
yes,
you know
yes.
be
But not looking at
labeled.
what contributed to that, right? So how
Yes,
did you get to that point?
yes,
It's just
yes.
like, oh, there's something wrong with you, right?
Yeah,
You're the problem one. Yes.
you're the
Uh-huh.
problem, you're the crazy one. So what we did in this workplace, we banded together, we created a
Good.
support system. And I think, and this is what black women should consider. Actually,
Yeah.
there's oh, I'm sure you've seen in the Lean In Black Women in the Workplace report that yeah, you can check that out, that talks about all the microaggression that black women
Mm-hmm.
face in the workplace. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things that they say companies should do is that they should um, promote black women as a cohort and
Mm-hmm.
put black women in teams together so that they're
Mm.
not there only. What we did was just band together. We created a
Awesome.
support system, so
That's
you can come
awesome.
and say, okay, this happened to me, I am so mad, this is what I'm going to do. So we were able to, and then would be able to advise one another, or to just
Yes.
act as a place where you can vent, and
Yeah. And it was a
also,
buffer. It was like a buffer from the
yeah,
toxicity,
yeah,
right? Yes.
yeah, it was a safe space where you can say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then someone says, no, actually do this.
Mm-hmm.
There is this that can help you to do that. It was an amazing place. It
Wow. Lucy,
was an
there's a
amazing
question in the
place.
chat asking who published the report. I'm going to put it in the chat.
Oh yeah, so Lean In does Women in the Workplace report every year with McKinsey. And then I think in their 2020 report, if it's not their 2019 report, they had a separate Black Women in the Workplace report. It's an amazing, very powerful report. I think that really talks to a lot of these issues. And the nice thing about it, it also talks to what are the solutions that companies can do.
Awesome.
A very powerful.
Awesome. And you know
So
what's so fascinating about what you're saying is, I completely believe in sisterhood, right? But what I've
yeah,
experienced, unfortunately, is that sometimes other Black people or other Black women, um, there is this sense of competition in the workplace.
yeah,
And so there might be people that you try to align with because they are other Black women or other Black people,
yeah,
but either they're supporting you and being silenced
yeah,
and not, shaking things
yeah,
up.
yeah,
They may be doing things where they're undermining you, right? Because they're trying to get ahead of you because they see
yeah,
you as a threat.
yeah,
So this is a classic example of sisterhood really in action. But
yeah,
there's also
yeah,
situations where we have, unfortunately, and I did a whole YouTube about all skin folk and kinfolk. So just because somebody's Black,
yeah,
you can't automatically assume that.
yeah,
So in your situation, there was an example of that sisterhood. So
yeah.
Busi, can you share with us in terms of someone else asked, what is the article? I think they want the name of the article.
It's Black
Oh,
Women
and
in the Workplace.
they said, I want to send this article to my bosses. I love it. So what we'll do is after I
Yeah,
save this
okay.
recording, I'll put that link in the description
Yeah,
section. Okay. So
yeah,
you can have access to it and send it to your bosses, right? And then I see another comment. I'm also in a toxic work environment and I'm thinking about a lawsuit. I refuse to leave because I love my job and I've been there for 15 years. I love that you said that because that was something I was going to talk about is that many times we are in these toxic work environments. And as Black women, we've already been taught that we have to work twice as hard and people are going to be looking at us. So we're already come into that with that mindset and
mm,
we're doing our jobs. We're doing it generally very well. That's why we're getting so much attention,
mm,
right? So, like that people are looking at us, but they're not elevating us in the way that we need to be elevated. So that's the one thing. The second thing is that when this stuff starts happening to us, many times we're aware of it, but then we start questioning ourselves. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Let me ask other people.
mm,
So we do all this stuff, which is exhausting.
mm,
And then when we even recognize that this is happening, we still keep going on because we say, you know what? You're not going to run me out of here. I'm going to stay here. I've been here for this X amount of years. I'm vested. I have my benefits here. I make a good salary, like all these different things, which are like the golden handcuffs. So we feel like we're stuck in these environments. And so I think it's important for us, and Busi, I want you to speak to this too, in terms of that mentality and the impact that it has on us. Because
mm.
when we keep doing this, we're causing harm to ourselves. Because a lot of times I hear Black women say, well, I don't want to leave because I've been here too long and I have benefits. And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm talking to them in the sense of, but what is that doing for your life? Is this making you happy in your life or is it harming your life? Because many times it's harming your life. So health insurance benefits is not helpful if it's making you die sooner, right? And there was a research study that actually talked about Black women are dying earlier because of,
Good.
external factors, stress, right? And so we have to recognize in terms of the impact on our health, our mental and physical health. And I would say wholeheartedly, if you want to explore legal recourse, do that, right? So do what you need to do to help yourself feel better, but also recognize when you're at the point where it's really jeopardizing your health. Okay, so Lucy, can you speak a little bit about that in terms of that decision to leave and how do you
Mhm.
even come to that decision and all that's involved in that?
I like that you said, people need to kind of think about themselves and their own circumstances and who they are. And that's why I talked about, the issues, the stuff that you still need to heal,
Yeah,
your stuff and
yeah,
how it dances with what is happening, because it's a dance, it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I believe is that when you've healed certain things, the racists will keep racing, but
Yeah.
you don't have to engage,
Yes.
but
Yes.
when you still have issues in you that are still responding to that, then that's the work that you need to
Yes.
do. So
Absolutely.
so for me, when they started then started to try to get into the fighting, I remember they wanted to discipline me for responding to an email, you know and
What?
I said, yeah, for responding to an email. So asking, okay, this email requires us of this. What is the policy? What is the meaning of this word? What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? Why are we what does it mean? Asking certain questions. And apparently my boss was told they should discipline me for, I don't know, replying to everybody or something like that.
Wow.
And then I said to myself, okay, um, do I have the energy to, yeah, to play in the dirt?
Yes.
Yeah,
Play this
to
toxic game. Yeah.
yeah. No, I said to myself, I've been thinking about it, because you know how when you're about to leave a toxic workplace, you think about it for a while. So
Yes.
I've been thinking about leaving. This is my cue, because I could just
Exit
rather,
stage right.
yeah. So I'd rather take that energy and use it to, to build something else. However, as you say, as we know, we don't have a monolithic story.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us are stayers. Some people are stayers, some people are fighters
Yes.
and stayers, and
Yes.
sometimes they win. But the staying should not come from your wounds. Your
Yes.
staying should not be a staying of, I I I have things, I'm not worthy
Oh,
of taking care of myself. I'm
yeah.
not worthy of putting myself first.
Yes.
There is so much scarcity in the world that there's nothing else out there for me if I
Right.
leave here. This
Yes.
is it. It should not come from the wounding. That's why we need to do our work.
Absolutely.
We need to do
Absolutely.
the inner work, because
Yes.
that will allow us to make decisions that are the best for us, that are
Yes.
the
And I see a
healthiest
comment,
for us.
Busi, that I want to read to you. We are women here, but we don't want to live the legend of John Henry. It can be deadly to believe we must work harder and longer for our work to be appreciated. I completely agree.
Mhm.
And so we keep
Mhm.
working harder, harder,
Yeah.
harder. And yeah, you can stay there, but at what cost? And I just want to just give a personal testimony. I posted that I just resigned from the most toxic job I've ever had in my life, right? But it took so
Congratulations.
long.
Can we
Thank
just
you,
take a
thank you,
moment and say
thank you, thank
congratulations?
you.
Yeah.
But let me tell you how long it took me to get there. Like years, right? That I've seen things that were not okay. I saw things that were dysfunctional, but I'm a fighter, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
fight them and I'm gonna show them. And I used to call myself Harriet Tubman, like I was
Oh
fighting the
my
underground, I was on the
goodness.
Underground Railroad, helping other Black people, helping Black children, families. So I took pride in that, right? So you can't keep me down, you can't silence me, right? But that tapped in my childhood wound of trauma, right?
Yeah.
So recognizing that as a child, I didn't have a voice. I was silenced.
Yeah.
I was being traumatized. So I was using this as a
Yeah.
way to show that my voice mattered. But then I recognized, wait a minute, this job is a trauma trigger, right?
Yeah.
So the job is like an abuser that's
Yeah.
putting harm upon you constantly and
Yeah.
telling you better shut up. You better not say anything. You better stay in your place because if you do, then I'm going to do this to you, right?
Yeah.
Took I mean years, right? I had people around me, my sister friends, my family. Please leave, please leave, please leave. This is not a good place for you, right? And it got to the point, Busi, where I was like, you know what? My mental health, my physical health
Yeah.
is so much more important than this
Yeah.
job. And I have so many options, right? And
Yeah.
also recognize that sometimes as Black women, we have people around us, some who support us and who say, you know
Ah,
what, this is not good for you, you need to leave. But sometimes we have people around us who are like, no, stick it out. You
yeah,
should stay. Don't let them
yeah,
run out of you. That was my mother. That's my mother, right? And so having and recognizing that there might be different messages that you receive for people around you, but you need to do what's best for you,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
You have to do what's best for you because nobody's living your life except for you, right?
that is
So,
so powerful.
so
That's
that
such
was that moment. Yeah, go on, go on.
Yeah, that is such a powerful moment. Yes, I wanted to say that. Yeah, you will get. Sorry, I wanted to speak to the comment, and I also want to speak
Okay.
to what you said. I think you will get people. Yes, I wanted to speak to the guilt when we are guilted for choosing ourselves,
Yes,
especially around work.
yes,
The world has changed. I mean,
yes,
there's so many opportunities just outside of a job,
yes,
um, that you can make a living and be okay. But because especially the older generation comes from that place where there was scarcity, when there was not
yes,
much for us, so there is this feeling that there is only one way, and you
yes,
stick to a job, and I've seen also that people project their fears to you,
yes,
so they
absolutely.
don't think they'll make it, so they project them to you. Are you sure? Are
Yep,
you sure? And I
yep,
was actually thinking about it the other day that um then even when you make the decision, what one needs to be careful of is to make the decision and confirm the decision and be proud of the decision, because you can
yes,
make the decision and go around with guilt that you
yes,
chose yourself,
yes,
you
yes,
know
yes, yes, yes.
walk around with the guilt that I was selfish, I
Hmm.
was not a fighter enough, I
Hmm.
am a I'm a quitter, you know
Hmm.
I am, and because I'm a leaver, I leave, 3 years is enough, I leave, I go. So um so so actually I was reading, I finally read Viola's memoir, and just reading all the difficult things that she went through and how I resonated with a lot, and just I just sat down and said, wow, I didn't realize that I was carrying a guilt about decisions that I've taken for me,
Ah, interesting. Because as
decisions,
Black
yeah,
women, we're always told to center other people before us, take care of everybody else, right? And
yeah,
we'll take care of our stuff because we always
yeah,
get things handled, and we do. But
yeah,
also giving us permission to say,
yeah.
things are not serving me or not working for
Yeah.
me, I release it. So I'm going to
Yeah. Sorry. Oh my
for it.
goodness.
So I'm going to put that in the description section. And it really talks about when things are not serving us, that we need to release it.
Yeah.
Okay. So release all of that that
Yeah.
does not serve us
Yeah.
and be okay with that. And I just want to tell you that since I resigned from my job, like literally, Lucy, when I sent that off, I felt so exhilarated, like a weight was lifted because I felt like there was this weight on me, right? And I knew for
Mhm.
years this
Yeah.
weight was on me. And I was like, I released the weight, right? This is not serving me in any way possible. And I felt like I was honoring myself, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't have guilt. I felt like I was honoring, probably because I was going through like years of process, right? And discussing it at
Mhm.
at length in therapy, right? And I just want to
Yeah.
just put a plug out for therapy, right? To help us
Yeah.
with these moods. But years
Yes.
of therapy to get to that point. And when I got to that point, it was so liberating. I've been sleeping like a baby. Like I've
Yeah.
been sleeping better than I have in a long time because I no longer have that association to that toxic place. And
Yeah.
that is my hope for all of us who are listening, that we honor ourselves first and that we take our power back when we recognize. And I'm going to shout out to Beyonce, her song, and I did a reel on
Hey.
it. You are not going to break my soul. You're not going to do it, right? So when you recognize that things are hurting you in a deep, deep way, take a step back, right? And if you take that step back and you don't know what to do, please talk to trusted friends, family, therapy. Do what you need to do because we don't want these work experiences to kill us. It's not
Mm,
worth it. It's not worth it.
yeah,
Okay. So,
yeah,
Busi, can you share a little bit in terms of you've talked about the toxic work environment, you've talked about that aha moment, like I got to get out of here, right? You've
yeah.
talked about childhood wounds and associating that to job situations. Can you talk a little bit in terms of your healing journey?
Yeah. Okay, before I do, maybe it's also very linked. With what I think one of the comments that you read around working hard and trying to
Uh,
prove ourselves, yes.
yes.
Um, the imposter syndrome,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and I did a video around the imposter syndrome is as a result of the fact that we are in environments that were not created for us, that were not created with us in mind. And therefore, and actually, as Black people, I mean, even in South Africa, this is an African country, but we, the last time you're in your culture is really at home or maybe um in where you stay. But when you get to school, all the heroes are white, all the textbook writers, all the thinkers are white. When you go to church, Jesus is white. And I think Africa's Jesus is even whiter. I think at least Americans have been able to kinda
Wow.
I think you guys have been able to at least make Jesus more um like who you are. Our Jesus is just super white.
Wow. Now
Uh,
that's
and
crazy.
yeah, and so church, Jesus is white, and then when you get to the workplace, the culture is just white. So everywhere you are an imposter, you're different, and therefore you always feel like you're not good enough. And then
Ah,
and then also the proving, the need to prove that I am good enough, or I am a hard worker. Actually, I am worthy to be in this place. Let
yes.
me prove. I was actually talking to a coaching client, and she says, no, after I spoke to you, I was fine. I feel like I've got time now. I feel like I can do things. I'm not tired after work, because when we spoke about the issue of um, trying to impress all the time,
Uh-huh.
overworking, over
Uh-huh.
pleasing, and just
Uh-huh.
going through these emotions of, am I pleasing enough? Have I worked enough?
Mhm.
Have I really, just letting that go takes
Yes.
away so
Yes.
much. Just brings, actually, it doesn't take, it brings back to you so much energy that you can
Yes.
use for other things. So
Yes.
in terms of my healing journey, oh my goodness, as I said, I think my work journey has been very parallel to my inner wounding. I've already
Hmm.
spoken about the people pleasing, the latest one was the assimilation, just really letting go of the
Uh,
mask. I was actually looking at
the
something.
masking. Yes.
Oh my
How
goodness.
many of us have that mask on all day, right? Like we're smiling on it. That's why I have the picture on
Yeah.
my, so we're smiling all day, but inside we're dying. We're crushing, right? Our light is dimming.
Yes, and even just
Yeah.
how we look like, the clothes that, I mean, I for the first time just took out the wig. I was like, I'm done. And this is not a judgment to women who wear wigs, because for a long time I was the weave girl, and I was like,
The
yes,
weave girl.
I'll be woke with my weave. But the truth is, the truth is, it got to a point where it felt so heavy, because I felt like I am hiding. I don't feel good
Ah.
enough. I don't feel pretty enough without this,
Um,
because of the image of beauty that have been sold for
Social
so
programming.
long.
The social programming. Yeah.
Yeah, the social program, even our bodies,
Yes.
I was reading, I mean, there's a lot around representation, and that most of the time white women who are the standards of beauty have been built with small lean bodies, and as black people sometimes we have just inherited our ancestors' bodies that are
Yes.
bigger, that are stocky, and
Yeah.
just hating and beating
Yeah.
that up,
Yes.
just like going through life just fighting your body. And I'm not
Yes.
saying it shouldn't be healthy or whatever, and I shouldn't, but just to look at your body, and
Yes.
for me to look at my body and to look at my face and say it might not fit the standard, but this is who I am.
Yes.
This is who I
So
am,
self-acceptance,
and I
radical
value myself.
self-acceptance,
Yeah.
because you're going
Radical
against
self-esteem.
society
Yes.
that tells you you should strive to look like this.
Yeah.
But those things are not who we are. That's not the image of who we are.
Yeah.
And we have to recognize the social programming. And the social programming can be transmitted from our mothers and from our
Yeah.
family and from our friends, because we've all kind of grown up in this type of environment. So we kind
Yeah.
of perpetuate it. So being
Yeah.
mindful of, I'm giving honor to myself, I'm looking
Yeah.
at myself, and I'm valuing myself, even though society tells me all the time that I should not. And so we
Yeah.
have to reject that. We have to recognize this is negative. This is not helping me. This is not serving me. Again, I release it.
Yeah.
And so you were saying, in terms of being more comfortable with your natural hair, being more comfortable in our bodies, right? And
Yeah.
also, the what's so powerful about this is that you're talking about ways that we seek external validation, right? So we're looking outside of ourselves to feel okay. Do I measure up to this? Do I measure up
Yeah.
to that? And so the
And
radical form is looking within. Yes.
just just to add, actually, research. There's this a woman who wrote Black Women in Management, a book called Black Women in Management, and she did a study where she was comparing Black women in South Africa and Black women in the UK.
Ooh,
And when she went into the South African story, she was saying how this one woman was a recruiter who was saying that the her South African corporate clients would actually reject a black woman who would still wear their natural hair, um, spoke with very strong vernacular English, so not the um, so that is real. For me, I knew that one of the things that will help my career is if I look as close to whiteness as possible. I knew that without anyone telling me. And when I read this research, I thought, that's true. I know when I walk, I knew when I walk into a room with a
yeah.
nice weave, you know, and that also puts my foot at the door. And
Wow.
that is so sad,
Right.
that the assimilation also speaks to how you look like, how you
Yeah.
sound like. Yeah,
Yes. So it's this total masking. So it's
yeah,
like how we look physically, how we present ourselves, how we
yeah,
talk, how we
yeah,
dress, the whole
yeah.
thing. And so just imagine carrying this weight with us every
All
day,
your life. Yeah,
all your life, every day, all
yeah,
day. And so when
yeah,
we take a step back from that, we can breathe, like fully breathe and just be like, okay, this is who I am. And I honor myself. And I honor myself enough not to be harmed anymore. Right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and Busi, can
yeah.
you share with people, or the people listening, how would people, or tell them the services that you offer and how they would get in contact with you?
Yeah, I just before I tell you about the service, I just wanted to quickly talk about a quote by Toni Morrison, where he said, racism takes a lot of time, is a time waster. It really takes a lot of our attention and our time, and we need to start building,
Uh-huh.
you know, and focus on our building. And I think that's the next work, that we
Yeah.
need to do as a people, to
Yeah.
just say, what how can we rebuild ourselves? How can we start creating institutions? How do we, how do we, build ourselves outside of the racism? How do we do the work of not letting ourselves be in labor,
Ooh,
to
yes.
racism, because
Ooh,
it
that's
just
deep.
employs us, takes up
Yes,
our energy and our time,
yes,
and also, yes, doing the work of helping those who are still in there,
yes.
but without being in labor, to
Ooh,
racism. Yeah.
yes. And that quote really speaks to, yes, we will continue to do what we can to dismantle
Mm.
oppression,
Yeah.
right? But that job is not solely on us.
Yeah.
Right? So when people say, I don't know what to do, or I need to, do some other thing, I need to read some more, that is performative diversity work. And
Yeah.
so I did a whole video about that, a panel about Stop Playing Diversity. Dr. Monica Cox trademarked that. But
Yes.
what are we doing to support people?
Yeah.
But we all need to do the work. So it's
Yeah.
not just us doing the
Mm.
heavy labor. And that it's important for us as Black people to give
Mm.
ourselves permission to take rest,
Yeah.
right? And radical rest, radical self acceptance. And
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody follows the NAP ministry. I encourage you to please, follow her. But I love naps, because I feel like
Yeah.
naps are so healing.
Yes, and
But
that ministry, I
also,
love that.
yes, but also think about our ancestors who never
Yeah.
had a chance to rest. They did,
Yeah.
right? So we're giving honor to them and ourselves by taking a moment to rest. So I would strongly encourage anybody, when you have a moment, just take a moment to rest.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
yes, yes.
Yeah, so in terms of where people, so I do Black women in the workplace. I do coaching program. I'm actually about to start one in the beginning of August. I'm doing a three-day boot camp from the 16th, 17th, and 18th. It's around this time, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
In South Africa, 17th, 18th, and 19th. It's a 3-day boot camp. This is all I talk about, but mainly I'm talking now about how do we get to the next level of leadership, income, and impact, because I think what we have been taught a lot is that leadership, or what needs to be done, is outside of us. It's
Uh,
somebody else knows. But I don't think we're tapping enough into our own intentions, the power of our intentions, the
yeah,
wisdom of, the wisdom of our intuition. Just going back internally for the wisdom, rather than I need to get the next qualification, I need to get the next training. Like, where is your own power? And then I
yeah.
do a lot of work. I have a 5-day Leave Your Soul Crushing Job workshop. That Black women find very powerful. If you're
So it's a
still
five,
in
five
that
day what
place,
again? What is it called again?
5-day Leave Your Soul Crushing Job challenge. Um,
I
it's
love it.
amazing. It's amazing. Women who are struggling to leave their jobs,
I
that's the
love
workshop
it.
for you. You find it in my Linktree at Black Women in the Workplace.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That's beautiful. And okay, I'm just putting this in the chat. Black women in the workplace. Okay, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, again, my hope is that Black women are able to really recognize and hear that you are not alone. If you are in a toxic work environment, if you just left a toxic work environment, you are not alone. Okay. The other thing is that I hope that you are able to hear that these toxic work environments can impact us on a very profound level. So, physically, psychologically,
Mm.
spiritually, and that healing is possible. I really want you to know, Busi and I are examples. Healing is possible. Even after you leave these jobs, you are not stuck in these toxic jobs, okay? We are not saying to you, quit today. We're not saying that to you unless it's physical, mental, harm to you, right? But what we're saying to you is that start looking at the experiences that you're having, start healing whatever that might be. So Bucci talked about ways that these toxic jobs can reveal to us, our childhood wounds, and then seek therapy if you need to seek therapy. Do what you need to do to help yourself feel better. but we have to recognize that we have to save ourselves first. We cannot save anybody else if we are struggling and we are dying. So what I'll do is I will put Busi's information in the description section of the video, as well as the article she referenced. And I will include information about the NAP ministry, Dr. Carey Yazeed. So other people who are having these conversations, I will include that. And also I ask for anyone who's watched this video, please like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel. And I look forward to seeing you. And I want to just say to you that next week, we're going to evolve the conversation to talking about Black women reconnecting to our joy, because we are in these job situations, toxic jobs. I call them job robbers. These are job robbers, right? They take away our joy because we're so busy. We're spending so much time and energy fighting to do our jobs, which is ridiculous. But we're fighting to our jobs. We have little energy left over for our own joy. Okay. So we're going to start talking about ways that we can reconnect our joy as Black women, which is a natural extension of what we've been talking about, right? We're talking about the barriers to our joy. And we are saying as Black women, we are reconnecting to our joy. So
Love
please
this.
tune in next week, or we'll be having a conversation about this. And I want to thank Busi for agreeing to be here today and sharing her words of wisdom. They have been so profound. The chat really appreciates, I've been reading the comments. And so again, please share this video with any Black woman who you know is in a toxic work environment, just to let them know there's a way out. Okay. Any last words from you, Busi?
Yeah, I love it. I love Black joy. I love building. I love radical self-acceptance. It's about time that we focus on ourselves and
Yes.
build ourselves and be about ourselves.
Yes.
Giving
Yes.
enough. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So everyone have a good rest of your day. I will again, you can start sharing the video now, but just in a few minutes, I'll upload the additional information on YouTube. And so have a good day. Boost, if you could stay on, and then I'm going to end the broadcast. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye.